What if the world's financial backbone, the US dollar, was no longer guaranteed its throne? That's the gamble unfolding right now between the BRICS nations and the United States, a geopolitical tug-of-war that could reshape global finance and redefine the balance of power. In one corner, emerging economies pushing de-dollarization. In the other, a US president threatening 100% tariffs if that effort goes too far. This isn't theory. It's happening now, and today, we're breaking it down. The BRICS group, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, plus several newer members, has been discussing ways to reduce their reliance on the US dollar for trade settlements. The idea isn't just to ditch paper money. It's about creating alternatives to the dollar's dominance in international transactions. Leaders argue that the dollar's primacy gives the U.S. disproportionate leverage over global trade and financial flows, a power some in BRICS see as outdated and unfair. Brazil, under President Lula, has been vocal about this push. Lula repeatedly questioned why global trade must revolve around the dollar, asking if a new system could allow countries to trade without that default reliance. For his part, Lula insists Brazil doesn't want confrontation with the US, but wants respect and a more equitable financial order, asserting that big economies shouldn't have unfettered control over everyone else's commerce. Enter Donald Trump. As the US president, he slammed the idea of BRICS pursuing alternatives to the dollar. On social media, he publicly threatened to impose 100% tariffs on goods from BRICS countries if they proceed with any plan to create a currency or system that would challenge the dollar's dominance. He framed it as a red line: no new currency, no backing of alternatives, or face severe economic consequences. Tariffs of that magnitude would be more than political posturing. They could cripple export markets for BRICS nations, disrupt global supply chains, and force countries to rethink trading strategies. For a country like Brazil, which relies heavily on exports, such barriers could shift investment flows and slow economic growth. But beyond economics, this is about power projection. The U.S. signaling that it will not tolerate challenges to dollar hegemony. So here's the big picture. This isn't a regional spat. It's a global crossroads. If BRICS nations manage to build a viable alternative to the dollar system, they could empower emerging markets, reduce exposure to U.S. financial policy, and spark a shift toward a multipolar financial architecture. But if Trump's threats hold and tariffs bite, it could freeze that momentum, reinforcing U.S. dominance. What's at stake isn't just trade, it's the future of how the world does business. Which path wins will shape global politics and economics for decades to come. If you want part 2, where we unpack what alternatives BRICS could realistically build, comment next.